I am here today with Melissa Condro, and we're going to be lasering in on some coaching for Melissa. And what I know is that when one person has a question, oftentimes many other people have that question. And so, Melissa, thank you so much for being here today and for your willingness to, share a little bit of your vision and maybe some of those challenges for the purpose of the transformation. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So Melissa, you have a vision you've been working towards and current results. And so by definition, there's a gap between where we are and where we want to be. And it's in that gap and navigating the gap. I always say that's the real work. Really easy to be grateful
Mhm.
that everything's working out and when we're seeing the results, and how we navigate that gap is often the challenges. So what's on your mind?
Really.
What are you noticing as you're are navigating moving towards your vision?
So I think one of the great things is that I've really been noticing what I'm noticing. So when I do get stuck with some emotions, I guess you would say, I'm able to really talk my way through that now, which is amazing. One of the big things on my vision was becoming a coach in my online business. And so that was about a year down the road from now. That was what my anticipated date was, I suppose. And since I started working with you, I just really kind of have been sort of coming into my own, I guess, and realizing that, it's this or something better still. And so I thought, let's just see if I can become a coach sooner. So I put everything out there and ended up being approved to become a coach. So that's exciting because I want to do that for myself, for my team. But then that imposter syndrome kind of creeps in there. And I know that I have the skills, I know that I have what I need, but it's like the little voice in the back of my head is just like, really? Are you sure that you can do this? And I'm finding that's the one thing, whether it be writing my book, that's in my vision as well on my journey. And so then it's like, well, who are you to write a book, right? My day job is my dream job, and I love everything about it. But then the little voice in the back of my head is going like, "Really? You can do this? Are you sure that you can do this?" So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I feel like I have the education, I have the skills. I just can't get myself to actually do the steps, I guess, that push me over and allow me to feel good about myself and continue, you know?
Hmm. And so you had a vision of in your online business becoming a coach. The logical mind said this is a year or so away. And inside of the work that we do together, started to come into your own collapsed time, took some big, bold action steps, Melissa,
Big ones, yeah.
and doors opened and opportunities present
Mm.
themselves. And so now here you are on the doorstep of that opportunity, and that little voice is rising up saying, who do you think you are? Are you sure? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's a pattern for me. It's always sort of been that. So I think with everything that I've ever done, I always have this little voice. Like I'm always in, I guess, comparison mode and looking at other people that are doing things. And it's like, could you actually do that? Um, but my huge goal in everything that I set out to do is helping others. So I try to step past that and try to move through that. But then I get stuck a little bit.
And it's great awareness. And, it's you're just, I would say, congratulations. You're right where you should be in the process of transformation, right? There's a part of you that just wants to help people in a bigger way and to step inside of this vision. And then there's another part of us that wants to keep us in our comfort zone, right? And keep us
Mhm.
safe. And so our paradigm, our operating system reads you leaving your comfort zone as danger, right? So It's the unknown. And so it's reading it as danger. And in the absence of the awareness, Melissa, right? It's we self-sabotage. It's the little voice, we get busy, things come up. And that's just that mechanism that's designed to keep us safe. So the fact that you're aware that you're hearing the voice, most people are never even aware of what's going on. But you have a level of awareness that, okay, I'm noticing what I'm noticing. I'm noticing this imposter syndrome, and this is a pattern. And Melissa, if you allow the pattern to win, so the imposter syndrome, that little voice to win in this moment, what happens 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now?
Still right where I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how would that feel?
Not very good.
Yeah.
Not very good.
So
Yeah.
an important step, right? To notice, oh, here's a pattern and I can go down this path. And if I go down this path, what's the cost of that? That leads to something. And sometimes unless we understand the cost of following the pattern, there's just not enough rocket fuel to get us past that pattern. And so,
Yeah.
hey, if I do this, and I want to celebrate you because you reached out for help, right? You noticed the pattern, you reached out for help. So that's a power move right there. So
Yes.
Melissa, let's imagine, take a breath here. And let's imagine that you're allowed to have a part of you that's that imposter syndrome and who am I? And then there's another part of you, Melissa, that knows that you've been called to serve in a bigger way. And let's imagine for a moment that part of you wins. And you take some action steps and some little steps at first, and maybe some bigger action steps, and you allow that part of you to win. And let's imagine it's 3 months, 6 months, a year from now. Where are you a year from now if you lean into that part of you?
I'm helping others, and I think putting myself out there and being vulnerable and knowing that there's other people like me. So if I can get past that, then I can help them get past that. Right. Um, yeah, like I can see it, I can feel it. I know how good it would be. It's where I want to be.
Where I want to be. Yeah.
Where I
So
want to
there's these
be.
two parts of you. And so the question becomes, which one am I going to allow to win? Which one am I going to allow the part of me that, am I good enough? The imposter syndrome, or the part of me that goes, hey, I'm stepping into my passion, into my purpose by means of me leaning in this moment. The people who I want to help, they're going to be in this same moment as they're growing. And so it's an opportunity to really lead by example and to know that you're paving that way. And
Yeah.
so, Melissa, what's an action step you can take? What's something that maybe you've been delaying on? You know that if you did this thing, it would move you forward. What's an action step you can take to move energy on your dream?
It's funny because I can't remember who, somebody said to me the other day that when they were where I am, but about like say 2 weeks before, and they were like, just schedule your coaching call, like schedule the call that will enable you to become the coach. And I didn't schedule it because I want to study it. I want to know it. I want to be able to be the best version of me when I do it. And I think I was afraid to schedule that.
Okay.
So that's something I can do.
And when will you do that by?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow at what time, Melissa?
By 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Okay. Yeah, notice the more specificity you get with the time, right? It's more of a decision, and it's now in the calendar. So there's
Right.
more energy on that. How does that feel?
It feels good. It feels anxious, but it's a good anxious, I think.
Yeah.
Like there's no going back.
Yeah.
There's no going
Great.
back. Yes. is there something that happens why I always have this? Like writing my book, it's been probably 15 years. It's like, okay, let's do this. Everybody I talk to, like, when are you writing your book? And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna write it. Yeah, I'm gonna write it. And it's about my experience. So I really want to help people. Like I want people to be able to pick this up and just go, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like if she can do this, I can do this. And so it's so important to me. But that's what seems to happen. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, now that I'm thinking of it, maybe I'm trying to be at the final, figure out how to get to the final step instead of starting.
Mm, yeah. So you asked the question, why does this happen?
Yeah.
So let's speak into the why this happens, because I think when we understand the mechanics of what's going on, it's no longer personal, right? We tend to think, oh, I'm a bad person, or I don't deserve it, or I'm doing something wrong,
Hmm.
right? We beat ourselves
Yeah.
up. Oh, I've had this
Yep.
dream. But when we understand that there's always a part of us that wants the dream, wants the vision, wants the book, and then there's always a part of us that's going to argue for that comfort zone. It's our biology. And
Okay.
so the reason we get in our way, and Melissa, I've been doing some work now for a little bit, right? We
Hmm. Hmm.
that paradigm, that operating system, that pattern will do everything it can to keep you safe. And so, even though you have the deep desire and passion to help people and to write this book and to share your story, it's unknown. You've never done it before.
Right.
So, that paradigm, it reads it as danger, right? It's like, ooh, let's just keep you comfortable. And so, some of its tactics are delay. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And that tricks us into thinking we're doing something where we think, well, I'm committed. I'm really doing this. It's just a busy time or next year or but
Exactly.
it's delay, right? And that delay has killed more dreams than any other paradigm because it tricks us into thinking we're doing something. And so it delays us, it distracts us. The dissuasion, that's that imposter syndrome. Who do you think you are? But it'll use any tactic it can, and it often disguises itself as practicality, right? It feels very practical. No, it is busy right now. I don't have time to write that book, or I've got to go get more experience, or I need to understand the whole process. It feels very practical and logical. So that's why it's so seductive,
Hmm.
because it really helps if we buy into it, right? So
Yeah.
the key is, so how do we override it? How do we allow the part of us that really wants to share our story and help other people win over the part of us that wants to keep us safe? And this is where your vision, Melissa, really, really
Hmm.
important. So your vision written in the present tense, I am the author. I have shared my story. I'm making a difference. I am that coach. So you have the vision of you done. It's done. It's not I'm going to,
Right.
it's
Right.
it's done. So that vision, and you're installing that vision into your subconscious mind every day. I am the
Hmm.
author, I am the coach, I am. So really strong association with that. And then Melissa, this is the piece that probably that paradigm likes to operate within you, it sounds like, is the delay, right?
Yeah,
And so this is
definitely.
the baby steps. I don't need to know how to write a whole book, but I can write an outline. I can pick a title. I can create the book jacket. I can write for 15 minutes every day. So it's getting started. And when you have your vision matched with action, that baby step, you allow that part of you that wants to win to have that dream win over the part of you that wants to keep you in your comfort zone.
That makes sense. I guess condensing sort of my vision so that I can say it because you know me, well, like I have lots of writing and lots of, and so it's long and it's like, okay, what can I just concentrate on today? But yet then things sort of get pushed back, right? I don't do it in all the quadrants and I'm not thinking of, but I know that all four coming together create exactly where I want to be. So I have to find a way to make that a bit smaller for my travel version and then just go back to that. Yeah.
Yep. So creating a travel size version of your vision or a
Yeah.
few affirmation statements, right? Where it's one
Mm-hmm.
paragraph. On today's call, we talked about scaffolding images, right? Having a
And
few
it's
strong images that you're
right.
rehearsing every day in your mind as a way to connect with you as the difference maker. And I know you're already a difference maker, but you have a calling to be a difference maker in a new way. So
Mm-hmm.
you're installing that new self-image and you in that vision realized married with action.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the third piece that I would add to that is celebrate the action taken. And so oftentimes we don't think we're doing enough. Well, what could 5 minutes of writing really what difference does that make? And we judge those 5 minute action steps instead of celebrating them. And so when you book that call tomorrow by 6 o'clock, you give yourself a pat on the back. Good job, me. I booked the call. I studied for 10 minutes. I wrote for 15 minutes. I did this. And so we're inside of this energy of celebrating the action steps, which will help also build the momentum.
True.
So is there an action step on the book?
What I just need to do is like, I go to work at 8 in the morning, I'm up at 5 and I do my morning routine, but maybe part of that morning could be, and it might not seem overwhelming if I just do, okay, for 10 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Like just, and I like, I can't, I'm pretty sure it would, well, it was you with the mapping and like, just write everything that you think of instead of like trying to make it sound pretty or exactly what you want, just maybe like put on the page whatever. And I have to remember there's editors that do fancy stuff, so I don't actually have to sound perfect, right? So that could be that could be something I could do is put it in there as a small amount, especially at first, so I'm not overwhelmed with how am I going to fit it in if I just
Yeah.
do a bit
Right.
every day. Yeah,
So when will you start that?
that would have to be tomorrow morning then.
All right. Really good. So I just again for anybody listening, those by whens, right, are so important. I'm gonna
Oh,
start adding that into my morning practice. Again, great intention. But when we say by when tomorrow morning, it really just anchors that action step and it makes it more concrete. So really important when we're saying I'm going to take this action step to add a by when to that, and it closes the circuit, right? And it makes it more real.
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. No, that
Good.
makes sense. Yeah.
So, Melissa, there's always going to be a part of you that's arguing for conditions. So instead of making that wrong, right? Okay, I'm
Mhm.
noticing you. There's that imposter syndrome again. And there's another
And
part of me that really has this deep calling to share my story, to impact people, to be that leader, that coach. And so I'm leaning into that part of me today. And
mhm.
it's not in the absence of the imposter syndrome. We befriend that part of us and
Right.
take action in service of your vision. And you will continue to collapse time just like you have already.
Mhm. Yeah, that sounds exciting. I think I remember you saying that before. It's this and because I can't deny that that's there, but if I make friends with it and I realize, I guess, why it's there. And
Yes, and I can have this and. So
yeah,
let's talk about, you just said something really important. It has nothing to protect me from. So the logical mind would say I'm not in danger, right?
right.
And Melissa, if you put yourself out there, you publish your story, you share your story, you step into leading a team, into coaching. Is there any potential risk inside of that?
Yeah, I guess so. Like vulnerability and
So it's not a tangible threat, but it's
mhm.
you're vulnerable. What if you get hurt or the judgment of others or right? So
Yeah.
it's protecting us. And it's not necessarily a real threat, but our nervous system reads it as a threat.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
really
Thank
good.
you. Thank
Oh,
you.
my
That's
absolute pleasure. And I look forward to celebrating many, many wins in this next year. And I look
mhm.
forward to purchasing that book and reading your story, Melissa.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. That means a lot. Befriend it and take little steps.
awesome.
Thank you so much.
Celebrating you, Melissa. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.